Traveling the world through spices and people. Can it be any tastier? Join me on a beautiful culinary adventure every week right here on AUMcuisine. Good morning and welcome to another episode of AUMcuisine, authentic, universal, meditative. I'm going to be making a really yummy poriyal. It's a sweet potato poriyal and we're going to start with some coconut oil. Okay, so let me explain a little bit about poriyal in general, right? I've made so many different poriyals and you guys have watched it. But this poriyal is remarkably different in that I'm using some spices that are not normally used in making poriyal. But the reason I'm using it is because I like to take the best from different parts of the world and make it into something which is just scrumptious, tasty, and time-tested. So we first have some coconut oil, and in that coconut oil, I'm first going to be adding in some mustard seeds. Now, I love the splattering of mustard seeds, not just visually like so, but also to a large extent the way that they contribute to the hints of flavor in making the poriyal. And in addition to the mustard seeds at this point, I'm going to be adding in some broken urad dal. And to this, some curry leaves. Yeah, the party's begun. It's all over, but and to that, I'm going to be adding in some fennel seeds, like a true mistress of spices, some cumin seeds, some coriander powder, and I'm going to be putting in some chili flakes. On top of that, a little bit of red onions. This fragrance right now in this little kitchen situation in our studio actually feels like a very familiar, enduring embrace of something really beautiful that's going to happen. So you have to allow the onions to soften, but not caramelize. So you really have to watch it rather closely. When it has started to soften, I immediately put in some turmeric powder. Always remember that your spices are going to release a lot more flavor if they are introduced into oil rather than you just putting the spices in. Putting the spices in later will give you some level of flavor, but they're definitely not going to be giving you the extent with which you can get that flavor if in case you add it to the oil. So it's really softening beautifully. At this juncture, I'm going to be putting in some minced garlic. I'm quite ample with my garlic, but it really is up to you on what you want to do there. And some ginger. Remember one thing about AUMcuisine recipes, okay? It's not about how much. It is more about the order. The order of cooking is absolutely critical to bring out the flavor. If you like more onions, put more onions. If you like more garlic, put in more garlic. But the order with which you add in the spices, as well as the order of ingredients and the vegetables, make a really big difference. Okay, once that's done, it's time to add in the sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes for multiple reasons. First of all, did you all know that sweet potatoes are from the morning glory family? It's this beautiful flower. And I have to tell you a story about that flower. I actually learned to make origami of a morning glory when I was in 7th grade. And I was so excited about it. Little did I know that from the same family comes the sweet potato with a beautiful flavor profile. Definitely does not belong to the nightshade family like the regular potato does. It has way more complex carbs and a lot of fiber and vitamin A. So it's really good for eyesight, it's good for your skin, and more than anything else, it does not really affect the people who have diabetes. To the extent, rather, that the potato would do. So, you know, all of that stuff. Where was I? I was telling you about, oh yeah, I was telling you about the morning glory, right? So, when I moved to England and I noticed that there's so many sweet potatoes there, I really started, you know, experimenting the flavors that I already were familiar with from India, and I put together the stuff. So when I lived in Europe, almost every weekend I got to travel, like a really crazy travel person, right? So I came across this amazing spice, which is really known to the Mediterranean region, but I got introduced to sumac, which is this lovely thing from the sumac berries in Turkey. And I was in Istanbul with a couple of my really dear friends, and who are still some of my best friends right now. So a shout out to you, Helen and Patrice. I love you guys. So, and they have lots of stories about sumac. So anyway, I'm going to be putting in 2 pinches of sumac at this juncture. It gives you kind of a beautiful sour kind of taste, but it's just perfect with sweet potatoes. So how I came to know about it is that there were sweet potato fries at this cafe we ate at, and they had sumac on the table. So I just put the sumac because it's a kind of a purple tinge on orange, and I love the taste. And ever since that day, whenever I made this Poriyal, when I lived in London, I would always use the sumac. And I was, thinking about it, my God, I've been doing AUMcuisine for so many years for YouTube, and I've never made this recipe. That's like insane. Gotta do it. So, there you go. Now that happiness has happened. Okay, so now is the time when you can visually see that the sweet potato has softened. This is when you add the salt to taste. Now, the reason I don't add the salt right in the beginning is because it interferes with the speed with which the sweet potato can cook, and you don't really want that to happen. Now to this, I'm going to add in some garbanzo beans, which have already been cooked. To not just get some protein in this dish, it visually looks really appealing, and it improves upon the nutritional profile of the dish. So there you have it. Once that's getting even more softened, I'm going to be adding in some cilantro leaves for flavor. Not for decoration, like you see in most run-of-the-mill Indian restaurants, you know, like the regular Indian restaurants. I'm nothing against them, but it's almost like they don't know to garnish with anything else except cilantro, and that's boring to me. So we are putting this in completely for the velocity and the freshness of the cilantro and the flavor. So this is done. So I'm going to be doing a little plating, and then we'll do a taste test. See you soon. That's all done, and it's just beautiful. I'm going to be sprinkling some coconut into this. Give it a quick little turn, and then we'll put some more coconut through when we do a little serving plating. So, love these little plates. They are so cute. They remind me of the banana leaf, and it really does smell, you know, like my party's Poriyal. It's just like, it actually smells like it. Just beautiful. Just old memories all over the place. Beautiful. Just look at that. Just lovely. Look at me leching at my own food. It's kind of weird and pathetic at the same time, but it really is tasty. You should try it. You should try. Let's do a little taste test, okay? So I'm going to be putting in some sumac on top of the coconut. And I don't want to garnish it with cilantro. I really don't. There is something about that. It kind of takes away from this deliciousness. Looks so good. This with some of our Ayurvedic rasam and some rice. I'd be singing songs that I actually forgot the lyrics of. It's that good. Such perfect comfort food. And more than anything else, it is an explosion of flavors, both familiar and new. Until we meet again in another episode of AUMcuisine. This is Priyanka.